It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belgast, and let's start the show. Hey folks, it's that time again, time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 279. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
Hi.
Kodra.
Hello.
Tam.
Hello.
And Thalen.
Hey there.
So, last week we talked a little bit about Season of Dawn because we knew it was coming, and then Tuesday it actually hit.
It's here.
What's interesting is we've not really seen what a modern season is going to look like in Destiny 2, and this is kind of the first time. Because there were significant changes that came in with Shadowkeep in the way that they were doing seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Season of Undying, since it was simultaneous with Shadowkeep, it wasn't.
It was kind of hard to
quite,
sort out
yeah.
what was Undying content and what was Shadowkeep content. So the main focus of the season is that we broke time, and we are trying to fix time with the use of this gadget called the Sundial. Because Osiris is the king of bad ideas in Destiny 2.
Yeah, because apparently he built this thing a long time ago, and it didn't do what he wanted, so he threw a tarp on over it and forgot about it.
And now we're going to use it because apparently it's good enough for us.
Well, also the Cabal found out it's there, and we're like, hey, maybe we can do something with this.
Yeah. So, some months back, I talked about the Season of Opulence and this event called the Menagerie, where throughout all of the modes in the game you collected these runes, and then you gambled runes on this event called Menagerie, which was like a greatest hits collection of raid encounters from the Leviathan.
Yeah.
And the better you did, the fewer encounters you needed to do to basically fill a bar. And it was a cool idea. Like, I talked specifically about it being a cool idea, and it's still a fun thing, but the problem with it is, now that we're out of the Season of Opulence, it is kind of a pain in the butt to get all of these runes, and the runes are doled out in a manner to where they're just kind of given to you randomly. And the thing is like, certain patterns of runes will produce certain items. So that means if you want to try and get a really good roll of a specific weapon, you need a bunch of copies of the same rune, which makes it kind of a pain in the butt to like actually try and focus down getting anything. Because if you run a Menagerie without runes, you just don't get anything at the end, which is kind of a problem. Season of Dawn seemingly learned from that. And the Sundial event works an awful lot like the Menagerie, to where you are fighting a bunch of Cabal, and there are, I think, 6 different little mini-events, and they're chained in different orders, and how successful you do at each of them dictates how fast you get to the final boss, and you get to fight one of 3 Scions, which in Destiny 1 were the 3 elemental psychic guys that spawned in that one Dust Palace strike.
Oh, okay.
So
I think we may only be able to get one of them right now, because I think the second one becomes available next week. Or maybe it swaps out to that one. I don't know.
I think they may be on a rotation. That's my theory.
Yeah.
Like we keep getting the same one over and over, and I wouldn't be surprised if like they do the thing that they've done with Escalation Protocol and all the other similar events, to where like 1 week it's random which one you get.
Yeah.
Because there's probably going to be something associated with each individual one. But
right.
So the other part of this event is you are unlocking these pylons on the destinations. And the pylons more or less serve the same role as the chalice did, which was a thing that you had in your quest inventory that you fed the runes into. But the pylons right now, there's one on Tangled Shore and one on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
And you can power them up, and you can unlock specific abilities. You can unlock weapons through them.
Mods.
Yeah, I just now got to the point where I can start getting mods. And they're like specialty versions of mods that already exist.
Well, so a lot of them are ones that there's this charged with light mechanic for the season that most of the season mods are related to. They either give you a way to become charged with light or do something while you're charged with light. And that's the mods that go into the seasonal slot on the seasonal armor.
So the kind of cool thing that happens with the sundial is it's also the mini event, and how you dictate what weapons are available at the end are you choose which of these pylons that you've basically bound to the sundial. And for the Tangled Shore pylon, at the end of the match, you get to choose between getting a auto rifle or a sidearm, and they're both are very excellent.
Nice. Yeah,
they're
I really
both
like the Steel Feather auto rifle.
And I got like just a nonsense roll of the Steel Feather that's got multi-kill clip and feeding frenzy, which means like getting multiple kills with the weapon gives me a huge bonus when reloading, and getting kills with the weapon causes my reload speed to like be super fast, so the two feed off each other extremely well.
Yeah, the one I've got doesn't even really have good modifiers, and I still really like just how it feels, because I got Grave Robber and Osmosis, which is one of the new ones that they've added to the game.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat. If you throw a grenade, the gun starts shooting bullets of the same energy type as the grenade.
Yeah, which is kind of handy, because it turns your primary slot kinetic weapons into a elemental weapon for a duration of time. And I think it's until you actually swap weapons.
Yeah, it's until you swap weapons. So it gives you a way to actually carry a weapon of each energy type.
Which is super handy, considering like I did a Nightfall the other day on the 950, and it had match game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, which is a pain in the butt, which means you have to match elements to drop shields. But so the other pylon is what is it? A linear fusion rifle and a grenade launcher, but it's like a secondary slot grenade launcher instead of a heavy weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And that grenade launcher is like a brand new kind of weapon that's like a wave launcher or something along those. I forget what it's called. It is called Warframe. And what happens is whenever you launch the grenade, it also fires basically the thermite grenade in front of you. So like it's basically the Sunbreaker grenade going along the ground, which quite honestly is kind of more useful a lot of the times than the actual grenade.
Right. It's pretty cool.
And it hits, like, it does extra damage to multiple targets, so you can use it to kind of soften up the mobs and then knock them down with a primary weapon. I do not have a copy of Linear Fusion yet, sadly. So you can get one of these weapons at the completion of the Sundial event, or you can unlock them as a weapon bounty. And I have been doing lots and lots of the weapon bounties.
The only problem is you have to spend the same currency to buy weapon bounties that you use to upgrade the pylons.
Yeah, but it's like only 10 of it, so I don't know.
Yeah, but those pylons need a lot of upgrading.
They do.
I think they go up to like 20 each. It's pretty absurd.
Basically, I was just trying to get a good roll of each of the weapons, and I have yet to make it around to the linear fusion rifle, because quite honestly, I don't really like using linear fusion rifles.
No, I still don't really like them. Like, I've been using one in Crucible a lot, because that's the Crucible quest this time around. And it's okay. It's a sniper rifle that has to charge up, so...
Yeah. It's not the best thing in the world. Like, they're good at melting bosses, but that's kind of the only time I've ever used them, and quite honestly, like, there's probably never a time when I would use a linear fusion rifle over a machine gun, or a rocket launcher, or a grenade launcher. Although I have used a lot of the Arbalist, which is a primary slot linear fusion rifle, which is kind of nonsense.
But there's a lot of other games that are sniper rifles that charge up that are good.
I mean, it's basically this game's version of a railgun.
Yeah.
Kind of, exactly. Like
I think that's the main thing, is it does not have any drop off.
Right. Well, and it also over-penetrates. So if you line up targets in a row, the shot will penetrate to the one behind it. and like it has a certain length that it will go, and anything that's in that line will basically take damage. So I mean, in certain circumstances it's great. In other circumstances it just is like a sniper rifle. I mean, the best version of this was the sleeper simulant, but that got heavily nerfed because people were just like wrecking everyone in Gambit while invading with it.
And notably, that's the only linear fusion rifle that did not get a buff this season, because I think they decided linear fusion rifles and sidearms weren't getting enough love, so both classes got buffs.
I've never liked using sidearms until using the one that's the Sundial weapon. Like, it's the first sidearm I've thought was worth using. And honestly, it kind of reminds me of in Destiny 1, there was an exotic sidearm called the Trespasser. It was basically the gun from RoboCop. Like, it was exactly the gun from RoboCop. And it was great. Like, but this one, it's only 2-shot bursts, but it still feels good. Like, and as fast as you can fire a sidearm, you can just melt things with it. And I'm shocked at how much range sidearms have. Like, all this time, I assumed, possibly incorrectly, that sidearms were just like a close quarters weapon. But
I also assumed this when I was playing.
I mean, it probably varies from sidearm to sidearm, but yeah. I think the ones I've been using have pretty decent range.
I mean, it's basically a faster firing hand cannon that just does less damage.
Finally, Bungie returning to their roots and giving us a good sidearm.
Yeah, like, I mean, the one you can get this season from this event is amazing. I'm not sure what a god roll would look like for it, but it's great. Like, it feels amazing, and it fires forever before you have to
going
reload.
back to our Halo 1 days.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Boy, do I miss the Halo 1 pistol.
I mean, the feel of this specific sidearm that you can get this season is not dissimilar, since I've been playing quite a bit of Halo Reach.
Halo Reach was dramatically nerfed.
Halo 1 sidearm.
It has been eons since I played Halo 1.
Halo 1 sidearm was amazing. It was like, if you could get 3 headshots with it, that would be a kill. And you could shoot it pretty quickly. It was good at every range. It was, quite frankly, overpowered, but there were certain specialty weapons that could outclass it in certain scenarios.
I have absolutely taken down folks in the Crucible with this specific sidearm in 3 shots. Like, the one that I'm running right now has another one of the brand new perks on it called Vorpal Blade, which does extra damage to bosses, extra damages to guardians with fully charged supers, extra damage to shields, I think. So yeah, like if a guardian is running around holding a super, like, I could just shred them with this thing. I think I could probably 2-burst them if they were headshots. The other thing this season is that we're trying to save Saint 14, like we talked about, and there's a quest, and it only goes so far, and I figure it is going to be a lot like the Eris Morn stuff, in that we get another little unlock each week until we finally get to see all of it.
Mm-hmm. That would be my assumption.
Also, Saint 14 is Russian. Who knew?
He's very Russian.
Did not know this. Like, the way people talked about Saint 14, I never would have expected the Russian guy from Armageddon.
They're taking the opportunity to remind us of some of the backstory related to the Fallen and the EDZ. For those of us that didn't play Destiny, he's very sad about what the Fallen did in the EDZ.
EDZ or Cosmodrome?
Or I'm sorry, in the Cosmodrome.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
So actual Russia.
Yes, yeah, that's what I meant.
I don't know. All in all, like, I'm happy. The seasonal track has got interesting stuff on it again. It's got 2 weapons that I don't necessarily care about, but oh well. Like, it feels better to be grinding towards specific targets than just, antiquated Ingrams.
Oh yeah, also the exotic that you get with the season pass is a pretty great scout rifle.
It's probably the best scout rifle I've used.
It's fully automatic, and getting precision hits with it builds up a charge. And then you switch it over to its other mode, where the bullets become slower firing homing bullets whose damage is based on the number of levels of charge you built up.
Yep. And you switch back and forth by holding down the reload button.
Yeah.
Kind of like the hard light, where you can change elemental type.
Yeah, or Lord of Wolves, or Cerebus, or
I think Borealis is the same way, yeah.
If you build it up to the maximum 15 levels of charge, it hits like a truck.
I mean, and it's a secret, kind of like the things that the Fallen throw out, where it'll just track something down and kill it. Feels like if you could somehow get a 15 charge in the Crucible, it would be really frustrating for players, because like it would just home around corners and...
Mm-hmm. But that would require getting 15% without getting killed.
Exactly.
So good luck with that.
Which is not likely going to happen, or at least I'm not
good enough to do that. If you're good enough to do that, you're already making other players frustrated in the Crucible.
I guess that's one approach.
There's been a lot of games added that do different stuff like that. Like Lumen is kind of that way, to where you get kills and you pick up charges, and then like you fire off like a super charge that buffs your entire team. And I think Malfeasance does something kind of similar. So yeah, they're playing with the what makes a weapon. I am currently only, I think, rank 11, and I'm sure Thalen is further along than me.
24.
Yeah, I figured. It's been a busy weekend, because check fraud and dealing with it is fun.
Leh.
So anything else on Season of Dawn, Thalen, before we move on?
One other thing that I really, really appreciate is, so once again, just like last season, to get the catalyst for the exotic weapon, you have to do, various stuff, Gambit or Crucible or Strikes or whatever. I really, really appreciate that, A, the Sundial is actually on the list of things that give you credit, because the Vex Offensive was not for Ariana's Vow, and that was dumb. And B, even more importantly, you don't have to have the weapon equipped to get the credit.
Right.
Which was a huge thing, because there were, I wanted to run other exotics to do Crucible or Strikes. I wanted to run other energy weapons. So I never completed the Ariana's Vow Catalyst. But
well, did you notice that they nerfed Ariana's Vow Catalyst as well?
I mean, I know that it also now increments as I do events, only 1 point at a time, because I don't, because the buff was associated with last season, but still, I can just do stuff and eventually I'll earn the Catalyst. I don't have to do anything special.
At some point, we will get both Catalysts.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that.
I also greatly appreciate that all the seasonal things from last season that we didn't get done are just sitting in our inventory waiting to be finished.
Yeah, as long as you had the quest accepted, you get to keep it and finish it at your leisure. Like, the triumphs and the collections tab associated with the things have gone. So I'm not going to be getting the Undying title, but I can at least get those weapons.
Because, that's the thing that's the thing that I noticed with the last season, and I feel like it's probably going to be the same with this season, is there's a lot of levers to pull, and there's no way I'm going to get them all done in a single season.
There's really a lot. I think I'm actually going to try and do some competitive PvP this season and actually earn some glory.
Yeah.
I've gone in once, and it actually went pretty well. I ended up on a team with a couple of people that really knew what they were doing.
I have a bunch of quests that rely on glory, and it really annoys me that's what they're using as the thing instead of Valor.
Yep.
I mean, for those who don't know what we're talking about, Valor is the PvP currency that you gain from doing...
It's really just score.
Playlist? Yeah, it's score.
Yeah, and it only goes up. It does not decrease. You gain more for winning than for losing. You gain more if you're on a winning streak, but you always gain at least a little from a fight, even if you lose horribly.
So time applied means at some point you will max out Valor,
and then you reset it and start over. Glory is associated only with competitive PvP, which is just survival, which is 3-on-3, kill the other team before they kill you, with X number of extra lives per team, and it goes up or down.
It's your matchmaking rating.
And yeah, it's your matchmaking rating. So you need to actually be good at PvP if you ever want to get one of the things that requires, a reasonably high glory.
Although this season they lowered what that ceiling is that you have to reach before you get the rewards. Like it's lowered significantly, because I think it's Brave, which is the second tier up, instead of, I think it was either the third or the fourth for a lot of the other things.
For the weapon stuff, everything I've got for this season, it requires heroic.
Okay, then that's one below Brave.
Yeah, and the linear fusion rifle from doing PvP stuff requires glory rank heroic. So that's a thing. But yeah, so like if you want Randy's throwing knife, or I think also the mountaintop.
Yeah,
you got to earn glory for those.
Mountaintop is kind of hidden behind some other stuff, so like I don't currently have the mountaintop quest, and I don't know if I could never get the mountaintop quest, or if it's when I clear out some of the other competitive quests, I'll get the mountaintop quest.
It should still be there, because it's available to me. It might be on a second page if there's enough stuff sitting on them, like it moves some stuff to a second page.
Anyway, season's good so far. Long story short, season's good so far. In what is theoretically the natural competitor of Destiny 2, Warframe announced a really big thing that and released it and shadow dropped it during the Game Awards, and I assume our Warframe contingency has been doing that.
Somewhat. That is a fairly accurate assumption.
Yeah, I was sort of not expecting this for another few months, but
I was also not expecting to get to it until the new year.
Right. But so like the concept behind this is you build a multi-person starship and you and your friends crew a starship and blow up enemies and other starships in missions.
Do you do starship combat?
Yes. Your starship you have like turrets on your ship and a pilot. You can hop out of your ship in an archwing to like take to the skies personally, and you have to like, your ship takes damage and like hull breaches and so on, and you've got to repair them in combat.
Is this going to give me decent archwing options and mods?
So it does drop archwing mods.
Am I going to be sad about the state of my archwing?
I wasn't.
You don't necessarily have to use your archwing very much. In the early missions, one of the major things you get fighters and you get cruise ships. And the cruise ships are difficult to take down in your own ship. So the best way is to fly out in an archwing, literally invade, blow open the cruise ship, go in, kill everyone inside, blow up the generator, leave. But like while this is going on, somebody still has to be piloting the big ship. Somebody needs to be taking care of the various engineering things that need to be done in the big ship, like putting out fires and killing boarders, because you also get boarders. And there's a lot of parts to this machine.
Yeah. Like, it was really neat because there's a lot going on. I only flew the ship because I like piloting things. And I think my approach to evasive maneuvers was maybe not great for our gunners.
It would be better if we had more ranks in gunning.
Is that what that does? There's a system as well that lets you upgrade your skills, your like starship-y skills, but I don't know what that means.
The first rank in gunning gives you a target lead indicator.
Oh.
And the second rank in gunning lets you shoot the turrets 360 degrees.
Well, okay. That seems
like that
important.
Would help a lot.
Yeah, it seems like that would make a huge difference.
I have those now, and I'm eager to go back out and try them. But yeah, starting from, we're also in a ship that had been partially upgraded. They're like everything else in this game. The giant pile of systems, like a million miles deep. So you would get ship upgrades that are like you can replace the weapons. You have basically another mod page for your ship that uses mods that are not called mods. I don't remember what they actually called them. Avionics, I think.
So do you get to like, can you load out your kit as I'm a pilot and I have piloty things, and then I'm a gunner, I have gunnery things?
Yeah, like you can specialize into one of those or more of them.
Eventually you'll be good at all of them. But it seems like getting that. It seems like to start, it's best to specialize. Except for things like maybe you want like tactical one, like immediately, regardless of what role you actually want to do. But in addition to the Railjack content, they also added... No, wait, that was last update. I'm getting confused now because they've dropped 2 giant updates in the past month.
Because the last update I knew about was the whole enemy follows you around thing.
Yeah,
like the arc rival type thing. Has there been another one between the current thing and that?
There was that, and then there was, hey, you can build your ship. And now there's, hey, you can fly your ship.
How painful is it to build a ship?
It's kind of painful.
It's kind of painful. I'm still building mine. You can still play on it without... You can, like, play in somebody else's, which we did with Shiana's. Like, the painful part is you need a bunch of credits. Credits aren't that hard to get, but it is, like, a thing you need to do. Mostly every part of your ship, and I think there's 6 of them,
Yes.
takes 12 hours to build. And you can't collect and fix up the next one, like they're a linear progression.
That's why they dropped this update 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I definitely did not do it 3 weeks ago.
Right. Like, the actual gameplay part of it isn't that bad. You do a mission to get the piece. You probably do a mission to collect some items that you need to build the piece, or repair the piece, or whatever it is, refurbish it, and then you get the next mission 12 hours later. But
those items used to be kind of annoying to get, but they drop in large quantities in the actual Railjack missions. So if you have a friend with a Railjack or join a public Railjack mission, you can get these very, very easily compared to how you used to have to get them.
I don't suppose they fixed that field of view yet, have they?
Not in a way that's going to make you happy.
Okay.
probably not. They have changed the entire lighting system, like, more recently, or not quite as recently as this, but it's pretty impressive. I don't know what field of view... I don't know if anybody's done, like, field of view modding, but I imagine they could. Also, I'm relearning how melee works in the game, because they changed everything about melee. As far as I can tell, for the better. Like, a whole lot more melee weapons are good now, and melee in general is a lot better now.
People that are upset about it are people who were using the edge cases before.
I mean, in almost every case where that's true in a patch in a game, I think it's an improvement.
The primary culprit here is a mod called Conditioned Overload. It used to be completely broken nonsense with basically exponential damage scaling, and now it is still maybe the best mod in the game that doesn't have exponential damage scaling.
Yeah, like, I have been using Condition Overload, and I'm still using Condition Overload, and it's pretty much fine. Not sad about it. Like, sure, can I do stupid things like deal 30 million damage in a hit? No. Should I have been able to do that before? Also no.
I guess that's part of a slightly larger discussion. Lately, they've been getting better at nerfing things. Once upon a time, there was a grenade launcher called the Concore. I like the Concore. I used it a lot. It was used by a lot of people. It was very powerful. Had basically no risk to yourself, because it was one of the only grenades that didn't deal self-damage. And then they decided that they wanted to nerf it, so they, 1, added self-damage, and 2, nerfed the stats entirely into the ground, so it couldn't kill the enemies it could kill before. There have been several weapons like this over the course of the game. Sun and Simulor got nerfed at the exact same time, for pretty much the exact same reason.
Mm-hmm.
But most recently, they've nerfed the Catch Moon, which is one of the modular guns. It's the one that shoots like a wave of energy, sort of like the Arcoplasmor. If you use that, the weapon's been in the game longer. Just a big giant wave. Anything it hits probably is going to die. This time they didn't actually touch the damage numbers, at least not directly. They just added damage fall off in a max range, and shortened its max range. So it's still an entirely usable weapon. You just have to be a little closer.
That seems a lot more reasonable.
I've still seen it a lot, so I'm still not sure if they did enough, but we'll see.
So, anything else on Warframe?
Sounds like I need to check this out, because that sounds like fun.
It was really cool.
A lot of fun.
Like, we did a couple of missions. It's really the other thing that they do. Like, Warframe has the thing going on where you have to like pop back and forth through the lobby a lot between missions. With this, there's a nav console, and you can just go from mission to mission, and that was pretty nice. It's like, oh, get my friends together, get on the ship. We're in a good place. We just keep hitting the thing, and it works.
That's good.
Like, that was it was just such a seamless experience, and it was clear that there was a lot of upward and sideways progression that like might not be in yet, but where they could go with it, even in just the little bits that I saw.
I know there's quite a bit of upward progression, because there were a lot of complaints about people trying to go through it very quickly, that it gets very difficult.
I believe it. I mean, one of the coolest things, and I don't think we mentioned it, is that you have to go hunt down like enemy capital ships, and you can, as far as I could tell, you could like keep shooting them until they exploded. which is not an efficient way to do it. Or you can send somebody in an archwing to go in and blow them up from the inside. And that was cool. It's like, there's a space battle going on out there. I'm going to hop in here and blow up all of these people. And then, like, commandeer the vessel and start shooting people with it. When I did one...
The thing we didn't get to see, but that I have seen on stream, is that there's a stage above the ones we got, above the normal cruise ships. Like, there are galleons, like the type that we normally go through on missions.
Like, wait, what? Galleons?
You know, the galleon... Greener Galleon is a tile set for normal missions.
Oh, yeah.
Those exist.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty cool. You know, it's
basically have like a mission tile set inside this other mission.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I can get down with it. I mean, the thing that it was very funny when I invaded the other ship and like blew up the reactor. I was like looking for the reactor to blow it up after I'd flown around shooting some other stuff out of the sky with its guns. I realized that there was still a Grineer guy on another turret that I hadn't found, who was just like blithely shooting out the side. I probably should have dealt with that guy. Also, I died because I didn't get out of the ship fast enough when the reactor blew. Whoops. It's also very satisfying shooting down boarding parties as they come in.
I gotta say, like, I mean, as a not traditional Warframe player, like this style of gameplay sounds way the hell more interesting.
It's super fun. Like, we basically played the intro mission with a just slightly better than intro ship. Actually, I don't know about how true that second part is.
That was true.
Okay. And it was a blast. Like, I would spend a bunch of time doing it. The only thing that I wasn't sure about was, like, am I working towards anything in particular with this? But it seemed like playing those missions got me, like, skill upgrades.
Got you skill upgrades, got you some ship avionics, some mods, basically.
Yeah. All right. I'm here for it.
Is this stuff like lower level players would be able to participate in? I don't really know much about Warframe because I haven't really dabbled in it.
Yeah,
because they introduced basically an entirely new leveling system. Newer players can definitely participate to a greater extent than in some other previously high level activities.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, like we brought in a MR4 friend of ours.
Yep.
Who, like, MR4 is like play Warframe for 8 hours or whatever. I don't even know how. Like MR4 is not very. It's not a.
Yeah. It doesn't take long at all.
Pretty quick.
Probably about a week or so of concentrated play to get you there.
I have no idea if I'm even there yet. Like, I literally don't know.
Chances are pretty good. You're MR 11 or 12.
Yeah, like I've been playing it for a while, and I'm MR like 18. I don't know, but it mostly like doesn't matter after like what 15, 12.
It mostly doesn't matter after 14, and doesn't matter literally at all after 16.
Yeah.
At some point, I want to come back to the game for one reason only. I want to be able to play through whatever mission gives me the Excalibur Umbra.
There's some hella story between you and there that you probably haven't seen.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what the story is because spoilers are a thing on the internet.
True. I will say that Warframe does an incredibly, like the Warframe community does a shockingly good job of not spoiling the like, hey, I played this game for 80 hours and there's a twist.
I am still surprised that that's still a thing that is kept safeguarded mostly.
Yeah, like it can slip. If you're like looking for it, you can find it, but generally speaking. But yeah, I like spaceships. I like Warframe. I like Warframe spaceships.
So this all came out during the Game Awards, which is a thing that's happened 5 years now. I'm not really sure what more to say about that. It's a thing.
It's still just as relevant now as it was 6 years ago.
Ouch.
I mean, it's basically a giant commercial.
Commercial.
It is relevant because people release stuff.
Fair.
So there were new trailers we got to see. New ads. There were ads in our ads.
Adception. We learned that Microsoft is just as bad today at naming things as they were years ago.
Surprise!
Shocking.
Xbox Series X?
Yeah. I mean, I think Scarlet was a better name, just saying.
I'm just waiting for I guess PS4 doesn't do, like, weirdly inappropriate ads anymore.
They haven't done this since the PS3, no.
Yeah, so...
I mean, let's be fair. I've said this before. I've said it on Twitter. It's going to end up getting called the Xbox Sex.
I mean, yes.
I guess that's better than the Xbox Sad.
It's fair.
Yeah.
But it also opens the door for a PS5 ad that's better than...
Womp womp. I mean, like, for starters, I really appreciate them at least giving lip service to focusing on backwards compatibility. That if you really, really, really like your Pro controller for the Xbox One, it's going to play just fine on the Series X. It looks like they've only added 2 things to the controller. Like they added a share button. I forget what other thing. They've moved the controller to the faceted disc D-pad instead of a traditional D-pad. So hopefully you like that on the Pro controller, because that's apparently where they're going now. I don't think I've talked much about it, but like I've been super impressed with xCloud. Like it is shockingly
making a lot
good.
of appropriate moves lately. Like I said, Stadia should really just be Xbox Games Pass plus xCloud.
Well, so like as part of the xCloud preview, they've got like 50 games for you to play with, and I've spent some time playing games that I already had like experience with. Like I played a lot of Bloodstained. I played some Halo 5 because I've got experience playing Halo 5 on the actual Xbox. It's pretty good. I mean, I have a weird little controller that wraps around my phone that ends up turning it into basically a Vita, because it's got similar controller like thumbsticks, which are not exactly the best thumbsticks, but they're workable. But I have to say, Bloodstained on xCloud plays better than Bloodstained on Switch.
Did they finally get the patch out for Switch?
They did.
I think they did.
Yeah, but I think it still has some issues.
That's a shame.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, like I've been kind of impressed with some of the decisions Microsoft's made lately. Hopefully, they will continue to make decent decisions this console series.
I guess we'll see.
We got the announcement of the very first PS5 game, and I'm deeply concerned about it.
What is it?
Not Skyforge?
Yeah, basically not Skyforge. It's something called Godfall, which honestly, the trailer to some extent made me think of Anthem. And I think Anthem at this point is a cautionary tale.
That's not really wrong.
I mean, it did not have questionable multiplayer dialogue trying to pretend like it's real dialogue. So, I mean, but it also didn't really say much. It just showed off big dudes in armor, and it's supposedly a Destiny-like game. Hellblade 2 showed off footage rendered in the new Xbox console, supposedly. I say supposedly. All it really served to do is make me really want to play the first Hellblade, so I'll probably try and do that over Christmas break, because I hear it's kind of a short game.
We got an actual release date for Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yay!
I mean, are we going to believe it's a final release date?
I mean, they haven't given a release date before, so
yeah.
Yes.
It looks like better combat than the first one.
Not a high bar.
It's true. It also looks very, very... there's sweet segments of mobility, which is a high bar from the first one.
That's true. That is what that game is good at.
But it looks very good. There are lots of moments where you are just literally flying around this map. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's actually... I don't know how much it's just the attack animations look cooler. Like, it looks like you're wielding... like your wisps of magic, and you're not just sort of standing there while your magic beams out of your body at things. Like, there's a lot more kinetic animation.
So, you remember all of those 50 games that Riot said were in development?
I thought it was not in...
I don't know. It was a bunch. We actually got names and settings for 2 of them.
Okay.
Ruined King is apparently an RPG from Airship Syndicate, which are the folks that did and are also doing Darksiders Genesis, or did Darksiders Genesis, and it's a turn-based RPG
like Battle Chasers,
set in I don't know, whatever setting has got Thresh.
The Shadow Isles, dealing with the aftermath of Gangplank dying, which was part of the storyline. I'm way behind on the status of the League of Legends storyline.
There's a I didn't know there was a League of Legends storyline.
That was my reaction.
I haven't paid a lot of attention to that game in about 3 years. They've been doing things.
I didn't know Gangplank died.
They brought in a team trying to turn the lore into something coherent. The other game that was announced was Convergence, which is apparently a platformer featuring Echo, the character that can turn back time. And it makes me wonder if it's going to be, one of those platformers where you can roll back time periodically.
Prince of Persia-esque?
Well, or Braid, or where you're messing with the flow of time. But yeah, so that was a thing. So apparently those are actual things that are maybe going to happen. Apparently someone is also picking up the wreckage from Telltale Games to release content.
Apparently, Wolf Among Us 2 is going to be released. We'll see what that's like.
Oh, did you guys see the trailer for this D&D Drizzt game?
Yeah, it's Dark Alliance.
Yeah, which was a PS2 game.
Didn't we talk about that last week? Baldur's Gate
No.
Dark Alliance?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Because in relation to Darksiders Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I thought it was
I was
really
we
weird.
were just talking about that game.
So wait, is Dark Alliance, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, is this a old game?
It's PS2 era.
Yeah, there were 2 games, and then there was also one that was EverQuest themed that was in the same engine.
Because let me tell you, that felt like a trailer out of the 90s.
It kind of made me nauseated.
It made me nauseated.
I think I know what they were going for, but they didn't accomplish it, and it just made all of the assets look really kludgy.
Yeah, well, all of the assets looked kludgy, and I got motion sickness watching that, and I don't get motion sick.
I had to finally turn away from the screen. And again, I'm not normally motion sick, except for apparently, in a couple cases, Warframe.
Wow, I did not see this.
It's real frustrating.
Is this
okay. I'm interested that it exists, because I liked the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games.
Yeah, they were pretty great.
I think the EverQuest themed ones were better.
Yeah, they were. They were way better. What, Heroes of Norath, I think?
Champions of Norath.
Champions of North, yeah.
I think.
Oh my god.
Are you watching it?
I hadn't seen it. Now I've seen it.
Yeah.
And you wish you hadn't?
Why have we put cameras in people's chests?
Well, no, it's in their weapons.
Yeah, which they were kind of going for that whole shoulder cam reality television show thing that they did years back, but it didn't work.
Around the time of Blair Witch.
Yes, that thing.
But in a frenetic battle and switching between different perspectives.
No. This was a bad idea.
It was a bad idea.
Yeah, wow. Also, the fisheye lens. I feel like the fisheye lens is not helping anything that's going on there.
But everything looks cooler with a fisheye lens.
It's objectively untrue.
Maybe not, no.
Man, are we going to start breaking out some strong bad raps here?
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Actually, no, that was the teacher.
It was Coach Z.
Coach Z, fisheye lens. Oh, it's been so long.
They're taking our gerbs. So my favorite game that was showed off was Fast and the Furious Crossroads.
All right,
because it legitimately looks like a game that was probably made during the Xbox 360 PS3 era, but for whatever reason had licensing problems and never could release, and then has been rendered in a modern engine. It does not look good. It does not look good.
Wow. I don't want to be the person who's poo-pooing people for not wanting to spend, the budget of a movie trying to get the graphics up to the fidelity level that we look for now. So, if it's a good game, sure, whatever. I'm probably interested. I don't know that...
Was this a tank? Is there, some weird future Batmobile tank?
Apparently. Yeah, because that's a thing in the Fast and Furious franchise. I don't know.
Yeah, no, the Fast and the Furious movies are
I hear
superhero
they're a
movies.
wild
They're
ride.
superhero movies, and everybody's superpower is drives really good.
Yep.
Like, I'll be honest, I really enjoy racing games. Like, I really enjoy high-speed driving games when they're doing something more interesting than go around a track.
Yeah.
And like Burnout. I love Burnout. I'm sad that it's gone, but like I could be here for a Fast and the Furious game. That sounds hilarious and amazing.
Oh heck yeah!
I mean, this might be this might be more of like a action fighting game where your avatar is a car.
I mean,
Oh man, so like Twisted Metal?
right?
Yeah.
I love Twisted Metal.
Oh man,
Like I'd be down for that. Like Fast and the Furious as a modern Twisted Metal. Like I'm
that would be fantastic.
right. Because like the thing that's great
that's
about
kind of what this is looking like.
Also, I could maybe finally get my wife to play a game with me.
like the thing that's great about the Fast and the Furious, at least the like few that I've seen, is how completely aware of how nonsense they are.
Oh yeah, no.
Whereas
Once-
Twisted Metal takes itself way too seriously.
Yeah, once you get to Tokyo Drift, they were like, reality? Pfft, reality's not cool enough.
I played a bunch of Need for Speed games because they hit that right like arcadey driving thing.
Probably my highlight though was the New World trailer because like it finally looks like maybe it's going to be a game I'm interested in. Like it had it
finally. It looks like a game.
Yeah, like I mean, it had an interesting story trailer thing going on.
So they're giving us a little bit more story, but I will also say I don't know that I saw much gameplay in it.
I don't think there's any gameplay in it.
Okay.
Like I think it's just a cinematic, but like it's a cool cinematic. Biggest disappointment though is like I don't know if you saw the trailer for a game called 9 to 5.
I did. I didn't understand.
I don't know, but like at first I thought, oh shit, it's a new Jazz Jackrabbit game.
Oh.
And I was super excited because I liked Jazz Jackrabbit as a kid.
No, I think I knew that wasn't a realistic thing.
It's a
I know.
shame.
Which is a shame because like I would have been so down for the game
yeah.
that they're theoretically making fun of. Cinematic for the new Magic expansion was awesome looking. I don't know much about the Theros setting, but
well, do you know much about Greek mythology?
I do. I do know.
You know everything there is to know about the Theros setting.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like this cinematic trailer thing that Magic's now doing for expansions. Like I think was it War of the Spark that was the first really good one of those?
Yeah.
Hopefully they can figure out how to do other storytelling. That's a controversy we haven't touched on is the terrible new book.
Is there another terrible new book?
Books. Yeah, I was gonna say plural.
Yes, but there's one in particular that's super terrible.
Oh, okay. Wait, which one?
The follow up to the War of the Spark, the War of the Spark Forsaken.
Is that actually worse than the War of the Spark?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't have thought that possible, actually.
That's a shame.
So there's a number of reasons this is a terrible book. Like it's I haven't actually read War of the Spark, so I can't really properly compare. One of the things I was leafing through this one, and it's like the chapters are sometimes like a 3-line paragraph. Like it's weird. It's a weird structure for a book. But the thing that's got everyone up in arms is like, so Chandra is a character who has been like in this relationship between her and Nissa for several years now, and like the book explicitly is like Chandra's straight, yo, and she's always liked men, and she will only like very decidedly male men.
Seems to be counter to all of the writing that has occurred so far.
Correct.
Oh,
And so, understandably, people are pretty furious about that. But other than that, boy, it's some bad writing.
like, Not only, if you can get past the terrible rewriting of a beloved character, there's a bunch more bad writing to enjoy.
The problem is there's so much, like, it just feels like they keep trying to go back to this novel well, and they keep outsourcing it, and the frustration is there's a whole bunch of good writing that they host on their website, but it's not like it's always individual stories. It's not like we're gonna write a book about a thing.
Well, it's always been that way though. Like, okay, so the Brothers War was an amazing novel that was in the middle of a complete trash trilogy. Like, everything else in that trilogy was horrible, and they were all by 3 different writers. Like, let's get a trilogy written quicker by farming each book out to a different person. And like, Jeff Grubb's The Brothers War was amazing. Then I read the second book, and then I tried to read the third book, but yeah, like, it was horrible. Like, you had this one brilliant novel in the middle of a trash heap.
Yeah, the first book in that, I remember reading the War of the Spark book and being like, wow, this is so bad that I have to go back and read the previous ones that I liked, that I remember liking 15 years ago or whatever, 20 years ago, to see if it's like, was it just I had bad taste? No, that book is markedly better. That book is actually quite good.
It is the same author as War of the Spark Ravnica.
Jeff Grubb?
Or Greg Weisman.
Didn't he also do some novels?
I mean, I'm not surprised that the same author who wrote the absolutely terrible War of the Spark book followed it up with an absolutely terrible sequel to the War of the Spark book.
I mean, Jeff Grubb, on the other hand, I think, ended up going to ArenaNet and writing for Guild Wars 2.
One of the Guild Wars 2 novels wasn't that bad.
Well, no, like, I think like, Jeff Grubb wrote quest content in game. I think that's what he ended up doing. I may be wrong, but
one of the Guild Wars 2 novels was about Destiny's Edge, however.
Destiny's Edge is horrible. I mean, I kind of like Ritlock, but I mean, I kind of like Ritlock.
There's a reason he's one of the only ones they kept around.
He was the only salvageable member, so he's the only one that kept it around.
Yeah, they did a much better job with their, hey, this was a disaster. Let's make a completely new set of characters who are much better.
Destiny's Edge 2.0 was way better.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Magic, though, there was maybe a cinematic trailer for a new set, but also a cinematic trailer for an MMO. We're getting 2 whole new MMOs in 2020?
What? I maybe misinterpreted whatever you're talking about.
Magic Legends.
Yeah.
Wait, that's an MMO?
Yeah. I also misinterpreted that.
It's an MMO, Magic multiplayer, massively multiplayer online game.
Oh, yeah, no. Okay, never mind.
What?
This one you've been working on?
It's a action RPG.
Oh.
So probably not.
Yeah, no, it's a legitimately MMO.
Okay. Like, I thought you were trying to tell me, like, it was, the Chandelar game. where you wander around and fight people with cards.
No, you are playing a character in the Magic universe.
I'm down with this. Well, I'm mostly down with this. It depends on which universe.
It's
like there's some settings I'm interested in. There's some I'm maybe not.
Oh,
you can't always be an Innistrad, though.
I know. I mean, I like Ixalan.
So you are the game is free to play action MMORPG by Cryptic. You are a planeswalker.
So by Perfect World?
Cryptic had been developing this before they got bought, if I remember correctly.
Oh yes, Perfect World and its subsidiary Cryptic Studios.
Yeah.
Wow.
World.
I haven't felt my enthusiasm for something deflate that quickly in a while.
That's why I asked. Is this the one Cryptic have been working on?
Yeah.
I mean, like, Torchlight is also being put out by Perfect World, so I mean, I expect 30 just bizarre currencies.
I mean,
for no
give it a year.
Reason.
That'll happen as they add new expansions.
I say that there are so many different crafting materials in Warframe that I realize I don't have a lot of room to talk.
We got what looks like a new trailer for FF7.
They can just stop making trailers for that. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah,
they can save their money.
It's March, right? Like, that's when it comes out, so...
They also announced that you definitely aren't getting out of Midgard.
Surprise! This was not a surprise.
This was not a surprise.
No.
We got a trailer for Bravely Default 2.
Oh, yeah,
Bravely Default 3?
Yeah, no, it's I
the
think
third Bravely Default game called Bravely Default 2.
Yeah.
I'm angry.
Like, I kind of get it. Like, Final Fantasy games are all different stories. And Bravely Default 1 and Bravely 2nd are not different stories.
And the times when two Final Fantasy games were the same story, it was
they were
10 and 10-2.
Yeah.
13 and 13 Lightning Returns.
Okay, so Bravely Default is no more Agnes, no more any of those?
Probably not.
It
Sweet.
appears to be a new group of people.
Look like them, yeah.
Is the game's difficulty going to be at 100?
Probably.
I mean, it is as incomprehensible as every other JRPG trailer. So, we really don't know anything. We won't know anything until we actually get our hands on it.
You might not know anything, even having completed the game in its entirety.
It is fair.
We're not talking Kingdom Hearts now.
But no, that was also announced.
Bravely Default, and I realize, like, I think I'm still the person who got farthest in it, but I had to
You are.
quit because the end boss was hateful. Like, that was not so much a difficulty spike as a difficulty wall. You get to wake up, start fighting the end boss, and discover that no, you did not play this game good enough to win this game, to be able to get past this. And I don't have the desire. Like, I quit Final Fantasy VII for similar reasons. I discovered that I was not good enough going into the final dungeon, and I never finished it. And that's probably my least favorite part about JRPGs. Sometimes you just didn't build things right, and the game's difficulty has exceeded what you were able to do, and because it wasn't a smooth curve, I wasn't given enough warning.
That game does have the difficulty levels.
Those are not enough. It doesn't matter whether it's easy. Like, the only thing those do is modify HP numbers, I think.
HP and damage.
Well, so the problem with the end boss is what he's going to do is he's going to make all of your characters weak to everything, and then you're going to have one action that you need to time very precisely to remove that weakness before he AoEs you with that damage. And even on easy, that AoE weakness will kill you, and then you're dead. This game is awful. Like, the tactics that the end boss uses are miserable. Anyways, I did enjoy the thing. I hope it's a little bit better. It had a great plot twist towards the end that nobody ever was willing to stick out to find out about.
I mean, that was a tall order to stick that out.
It's true. Bravely Default, it's Final Fantasy without the FF. And notably, if you remove the FF from the subtitle of the game, it reveals the spoils.
I mean, to some extent, I keep hoping they re-release it on the Switch, because I would play a lot more of it on the Switch than I did on the 3DS, because, like, I like the Switch a lot more than I liked the 3DS.
Maybe. I probably would not play it again.
Like, I would love to see them release, like, the two games together as a pack for the Switch.
Bravely Default and Bravely Second?
Yep.
That would cause them to make somewhat more sense.
So wait, is the new one Bravely Default 2 or Bravely Second 2?
Bravely
Default.
Default 2.
Okay.
Also, the part that your fairy is not your friend is spoiled immediately if you start playing Bravely Second.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Are they ever really, though?
No.
I mean,
No.
it's great because literally, if you take the subtitle without the two F's in it, it's Where Eri Lies. They do a really cool thing towards the end of the game once you find that out, and then, like, they change the subtitle on the start screen to just be Eri Lies. Also, she was also a miserable boss fight. And if you are not good enough to beat her, you're legitimately just stuck. Because you can't go anywhere to grind, because the game has saved with you ready to enter a boss fight with her.
And this sounds real familiar. Because, like, in Final Fantasy IV, I like the Mage's Sisters. I ended up getting into a spot where I got to them and I was nowhere near progressed enough to do them, and like I had to go back to a way older save game because I hadn't been doing a good job rotating through, and go grind for a bunch of time because there's really no place to grind in that tower, or at least not successfully.
Yeah, you couldn't even grind your way out of this problem. It was hateful. Oh, hey, Brendan Green's making a new game. I wonder if he'll collab with Epic again.
I don't think I knew who this is, and I don't know what game you're referring to. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a trailer that told us nothing.
I'm going to go with probably not.
Probably not?
Like, I'm not going to say definitely not.
That guys, it's totally going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive.
Yeah.
But look, the annals of video game developers are full of people who maybe didn't learn from the previous iteration. So I can't say definitely not.
I mean, I just feel like they took a thing and made it better. I mean, I also feel like he doesn't have a leg to stand on, considering PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds was like the third or fourth iteration of the exact same damn thing.
Yeah, but he developed like versions 2 and 3.
I mean, yeah. Clearly, he needed to shit or get off the pot. He wasn't successfully iterating fast enough to make it fun. I say that having never actually played Fortnite. I mean, I played the original version of Fortnite, but I've never played the Battle Royale version of Fortnite.
I mean, its major things over PUBG were building, which is still its major feature as far as gameplay goes.
And
the fact that it had an art style, whereas PUBG does not have an art style.
I mean, I feel like shaming people into buying skins for not looking cool is also a part of its design ethic.
And that's a part of a lot of free-to-play game ethics.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Untitled Shark Game? This is a lovely beach and you're a terrible shark?
More interested in Untitled Beaker Game.
I love that part.
I want that to be real.
Good.
One of the awards was presented by Simon and Beaker and the Goose from Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah. Yes, Beaker was playing in VR, and somehow the goose got out.
I mean, it was going to happen one day. The goose is going to come out. I'm trying to think what else of note was talked about. I mean, we got another Ghost of Tsushima trailer, and I don't feel like I know any more about the game. It was really long and it was really pretty.
They had an orchestra.
I assume. Well, they had an orchestra last time, if I remember correctly.
Or did they?
I think so.
I expected it to be a PS5 launch game, but apparently it's coming out before then.
Oh yeah, it's coming out. Probably ringing out the PS4 as far as Sony's games go.
I mean, it may have a PS5 enhanced version, kind of like Last of Us did.
Like Bloodborne did.
And Bloodborne did too, yeah. I really think the success of the PS5 hinges upon them figuring out backwards compatibility, since that's a massive selling point now for Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it's a selling point for me, like, to have a modern console that can play a bunch of old stuff too.
They don't seem to care for some reason. Like, Microsoft cares because it can be the thing that they're good at. Sony
because the Xbox is basically a PC.
Right now. Yes.
I assume Ghost of Tsushima is going to be kind of a Soulsian game, but a more story-driven one. But, I mean, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting.
I mean, it sounds like a thing that people are interested in now.
Hopefully it leans more towards Jedi Fallen Order and not in the direction of more traditional Soulsian games.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like variable difficulty is a good thing.
Yes.
Anybody else think of anything else that we need to discuss?
There is a new, Civilization-looking game that starts off, way, when you're just sort of tribes hunting mammoths. That looks interesting.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what it's going to be like.
That was Humanity, right?
Yeah.
Looks isometric.
Oh, I remember the one that I thought sounded interesting was Weird West from the former folks from Arcane Studios. I mean, it seems like I don't know, like it like the gameplay of it reminded me of a modern version of Fallout 1 or 2.
I thought Wasteland 2 was supposed to be that game.
I mean, it was sort of, but also didn't have, I don't know, the production quality.
Is Weird West supposed to be turn-based?
You can't tell. I mean, from I don't know if any information has been released about it. We've just seen a trailer with a bunch of art footage with some little snippets of seeming gameplay footage.
Because I saw something say action RPG, and I was like, oh, so is this like a Diablo-like? And was a little bit less interested.
I don't know. I really don't know. But, I mean, I like stuff from Arcane. I just don't know how much the two leads were responsible for the stuff that I liked from Arcane. Also, I don't know why they left Arcane, but...
Might have wanted to strike out on their own.
Okay. I think that's probably it. Unless anybody else has something else.
Not that I could think of.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and I know we covered a bunch of stuff tonight, so if there's anything that you thought was awesome from the Game Awards that we missed, drop us a line on either social media or on the blog post or on YouTube. And we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.